Hi students, this lesson should be a continuous lesson from the very generic how to draw faces video. So if you haven't seen that one for some reason why, make sure that you go check that one out. Today we are going to be drawing with the intent of capturing the likeness of a person. So I have already found my photo online. I've chosen to just use a picture of a celebrity. You're welcome to do that as well. However, if you're going to use a picture of a celebrity, it must be somebody with positive attributes. That's all I'm going to say about that. Just make sure that you don't choose anybody historically known for negative reasons. And then if you choose to draw somebody in your household, you are totally welcome to do that as well. I recommend if you're going to do somebody in your house that you take a photo or at least a few photos of them so you can choose which one it is that you want to reference for when we get into color, because we will be coloring these. And you can always draw the person from life as well. However, you know, we're busy, we got stuff going on, so you might not want to ask your dad to sit there for 3 hours while you try to draw and color him as beautifully as possible. So, once you have your photo available, I recommend, if at all possible, not drawing off of a phone or computer. With this setup, I have to use my phone, unfortunately, and I am all alone here at home. There's nobody around. I'm very bored. So we're going to be using a photo of Emma Watson that I've already chosen. And when you are choosing your photo, the other thing you want to think about is taking a picture of the person either completely straight on, with them not looking up or down or to the side at all, if you are a newer to drawing faces. If you feel pretty confident about what you're doing, it's okay, like my picture here, to draw somebody in a 3/4 view. That's what it's called when the face is turned a little bit to the side. Don't worry about hands too much if you have a hand in your reference photo, but you also want for it to be mostly their face. It shouldn't be like a whole figure of them jumping or performing on stage or whatever. It should just be their face. Also, I'm going to say avoid complete profiles, even though I could show you how to do that. It's a little bit more complicated and would require for us to have a chat one-on-one. So let's go ahead and get our basin. Obviously, I'm going to take a little bit of time today to show you how to set it for 3/4 view, or situations where the head is tilted, because that's what I'm working with here and that you might end up with. However, I'm not going to be going over the very, very basics because I already covered that. So let's go ahead and get in our circle for our head. Our center line now is going to be at an angle. And if it helps you to draw, well, not actually draw, but to draw an invisible imaginary line above your reference photo and then put it on your paper, that's okay. And then you want to think from your center line how much face is on this side as compared to how much face is on this side. Notice there's a lot more face for me on the right hand side than on the left hand side. Then I'm going to do the Terminator stage. Remember, if any of these lines are not in the right place while you are drawing, just erase them and adjust them, right? This is your chance to make sure that you've got it right. And then, my phone's going to keep falling asleep. When you have a 3/4 view, you do actually see the line of the nose on the side that is turning away. So you can, when you do your C3PO, oh, that's the other thing too. When you do your C3PO phase of drawing, you still want to make sure that you are not putting the eyes too close or too far away or too small or too large. But notice that now the edge of this is going to create the edge that defines your nose. Cool. Also, this circle is going to be squished this way, but not this way. It needs to be as tall as this one, but it's going to be shorter this way just because the face is turning, okay? Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and start. I'm going to actually get in some of the hairline and stuff too before I get too far into this, because I think it's helpful. All right. She's wearing some big earrings in here. I don't usually see her wearing earrings. Okay. Now that we have our face set up, let's go ahead and start with the eyes. For Emma Watson, we know that she has very long, flat brows that are a little bit more masculine in nature. So I'm going to actually go ahead and start with the eyebrows. If your person doesn't have eyebrows of any particular note or anything special, you can start with the thing that stands out with the eyes. Like if they don't have an eyelid crease or if they have a specific eye shape, you can start with that instead. Because this time around, we really want to be looking at our picture a lot and then our page a lot to make sure that we are capturing a likeness. The part that we don't need to reference is the generic setup that we just did, right? Although we do still want to make sure that the angle and the size and proportions of the face are going to work well with our reference. So now I'm going to get in her eyebrow on the other side. Notice that on the far side of the face that's turning away, sometimes things actually wrap around or get cut off on the edge of the face, and that is totally okay. You do not want to forget that your eyes are like cavities that go into your head. So you don't want to give her like a smooth line on this edge of her face when she actually still has a cheekbone and a brow bone and a forehead. Cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and start with this far away eye because I noticed that it fits really nice and tightly right in here under her eyebrow, because once again her eyebrows are wide and long and her eye is going to fit according to my picture. It might be different for yours. Right in here. Make sure to reference your eye shape, right? Don't just do a generic one. Make sure to look and see if they have an eyelid crease, how high or low it is. And then if they're looking off to the side, make sure that you move that iris and pupil inside of the eye shape that you've drawn. Once again, we are not shading, and we're trying to draw decently light because we want to make sure once we add color to this that nothing is gray and muddy and squishy. We want to make sure everything stays bright and colorful and beautiful. So I'm looking back and forth between my reference picture and what I'm drawing a lot, right? I'm not just using my imagination trying to figure out where everything goes. Why would I do that? If I have a picture right here, right in front of me, it's going to tell me everything. If I just look at somebody once and then walk away and try to draw them, it's going to be super hard. And if you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, Machine, I have photographic memory. Oh yeah? Then draw Mickey Mouse right now. I swear, you won't be able to do it unless you look up a picture of him. And if you draw Mickey Mouse from memory and you're like, oh, I think that looks pretty good, and then you pull up a picture of him, you're going to be like, oh, not even close. All right. Now, sometimes in your photo, there might be something about the person that isn't exactly helping your drawing. And if that's the case, then you don't have to keep your drawing exactly true to your photo. So in my photo, she's being lit very intensely with a very large highlight in her eye, and I think I might want to make mine a little bit smaller, and I also want to actually draw her pupils a little bit different from the way that they look in the photo. Remember again, the eyebrow hairs go up and then out, And I'm not going to draw way too many of them because I'm going to want to use color later to actually make her eyebrows brown. And I can erase some of this guideline stuff when I don't need it anymore. All right. So I think Emma's eyes look pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and move on to her nose. Now, when we did noses straight on, we drew the boop, right? And notice now that the boop of Emma's nose is over here to the side. So we're really going to see only one nostril that's going to come off from the boop, and it's going to look a little bit longer now because we're looking a little bit at the side of her nose, but it's still kind of just a fat parentheses. And then for Emma's nose, she has a very, very soft contour to her actual nostril, so we're not going to draw that in very hard. Well, I'm not going to draw that in very hard. It depends on your person as to how you are going to draw on their nose. Specifically, if you have somebody older, you might find that you have a lot more contours and shapes and lines. It's totally fine when drawing an older individual to draw the wrinkles on their face. However, I will tell you, if you have a smiling woman, like Emma's smiling a little bit here, I do not want to draw a line going from her nose around the sides of her mouth. It'll make her look a lot older than she is. Even though sometimes in your photos you can see a bit of a crease, we want to avoid the crease line and just do it with a little bit of shading. Alright, so now we have from her nose here the philtrum. Remember this? This little guy right here? It's going to help show us where her Cupid's bow is. And for Emma's Cupid's bow, it's a very, very soft shape. It's nothing too obvious. And she's smiling a little, so I am going to curve up the corners of her mouth a little bit. And also, because I'm drawing Emma in the 3/4 view, I am going to make this side of her mouth way shorter than this side of her mouth because this side is turning away from me. And then let's draw her lower lip. Once again, I am looking at my photo a lot. I'm asking myself how large of a lower lip am I going to draw? But I'm also going to remind myself that I'm not going to connect the lower lip all the way out to the corner. It's going to end a little short of that. And then this side is going to be shorter. And then we are going to very lightly draw where her chin should go and double check to make sure that this is in the right place. Now we can draw the edge of her face a little bit more definitively. And then remember how I was saying you don't want to draw an actual line? Just that little tiny bit will work. Cool? Okay, so now let's adjust the edge of her face. If it also helps you to draw shadows or highlights that you can already see, you can go ahead and do that. That's fine. So I'm not going to talk about hands, but if you have a hand in your picture and you would like to draw it, G-chat me or find me on Zoom and we'll talk about hands. Specifically the kind of hand that you have in your picture. Because sometimes when the hand interacts with the face, it can do kind of strange things. And people have a tendency to draw hands way too small. And we definitely don't want to give our person little baby hands unless they're a little baby, right? So let's draw these fingers back here. And notice that I'm being nice and light and sketchy with it. I'm not trying to get it right the very, very first time because the likelihood of me getting it right the very first time is low, right? I want to take advantage of using my pencil and finding the right shapes in the right place and taking my time to really get things where they need to be. If I don't get something right, then I'm going to erase it and I'm going to try it again, right? You don't have to stick with the line that you drew the first time. You're not married to it, okay? It's not your family. You can leave it. Okay, so let's find her jawline here. I can tell now in my original sketch I put her ear a little too high. So I'm going to move it down. And my picture cuts off so I can't really tell what's going on. I have to kind of make it up a little bit. And there's some hair back here. Remember, for hair, you are drawing the length and direction of the hair. So don't make short lines unless the hair is short. Don't make super long lines, and definitely, whatever you do not do pasta hair. And then remember that there's hair always on the sides of the head, no matter what. If you find, like me, you end up with extra space around your paper, or even if you find that you drew too big and you need to add a sheet of paper, go ahead and make sure that you mark off where you want for the edges of your box to be. Make sure to get in your details. I expect for you to take a lot longer in your drawing than I did for mine, okay? Oh, and don't forget to erase all the unnecessary guidelines and stuff once you are done. Oh, and if you have some kind of like scribbly lines too, since we will be coloring, clean up your drawing a little bit so it's really nice and clean. Alright, so once you have a really solid drawing, maybe even two, depending on how quick of a worker you are, go ahead and take a picture and email it to me. And next time we will actually work on coloring. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.